The faint hum of a city not yet awake. Raindrops race down fogged glass, the sound almost rhythmic, like the metronome ticking beside Adrian Keller's piano. He sits in silence, eyes half open, watching the paper he'd left on the table the night before. Ink-smudged fingers, a chipped mug of cold coffee. Then the sound of paper shifting softly, as if moved by a breeze. Morning in Vienna always begins the same way, with quiet, with rain, with the promise of routine. But some mornings begin early, before the city wakes, before the world knows what's coming. Adrian glances at the newspaper, Der Morgenblatt, but the date catches his eye. It reads Tuesday, October 19th, yet today is Monday. He frowns, checking his phone. Monday, 5:22 a.m. He flips through the pages. Everything looks normal, until his eyes stop on the headline. Bold, centered, undeniable. Train collision outside Linz, 46 dead, dozens missing. A faint tremor passes through him. He reads the subline again and again, a detailed report of a tragedy that hasn't yet occurred. Departure times, passenger numbers, witness quotes, as though someone had already written history. He shakes his head. Must be a printing error. But then the article includes a timestamp. Report filed at 10:48 a.m. He looks at his clock. It's only 5:24. Adrian places the paper aside and laughs quietly, a hollow, nervous laugh. He turns toward his piano and presses a key. The note echoes strangely, distant, metallic. He presses another, but this time the newspaper shifts again, its corner lifting slightly, as if stirred by unseen air. He freezes. The metronome ticks. Rain falls heavier. Some melodies never belong to the morning. Adrian walking to work, still uneasy. Glimpses of the newspaper folded under his arm. A faint reflection of himself in every rain puddle, slightly off sync. Adrian teaches scales to a young student. Outside, the clouds darken. The ticking of a classroom clock blends with the rhythm of the metronome. A faint vibration runs through the building. The lights flicker. A colleague rushes in, pale-faced, holding her phone. Did you hear? There's been a crash outside Linz. A train. Her voice fades. Adrian's world stops. The first note had been struck. Tomorrow had arrived too soon. Rain falls soft but constant, turning cobblestones into mirrors. Car headlights glide through the mist like phantoms. Adrian walks alone, coat collar raised, newspaper sealed in a clear folder against his chest. He had read of the dead before they died, and now the rain sounded different, as if the city itself was whispering what it knew, but dared not say aloud. Adrian sits before his piano, a single lamp glowing amber. The newspaper rests open beside him. He stares at the ink, fingerprints smudged where he's read it too often. He types a message on his phone. Der Morgenblatt, customer care. I received tomorrow's paper by mistake. Please confirm printing error. He hesitates, deletes by mistake, sends it anyway. A moment later, a notification sound. He looks message, could not be delivered. No such number. Adrian frowns. He searches for the newspaper online. No official site. No recent publication records. The last known issue, archived in the National Library, dated 1962. He stares at the screen, pulse slow but heavy. The world is filled with ghosts, not of people, but of things that refuse to stop existing. Adrian steps out. The rain hits his face, cold, real. Below, trams hum past like moving veins of light. He holds up the newspaper. The ink glistens, fresh, not old. He flips to the final page. There's another headline. Local musician to perform at charity gala Tuesday evening. He blinks his name beneath it. Adrian Keller to perform Chopin nocturnes for veterans' benefit. Venue, Vienna City Hall, October 19th. He laughs under his breath. He had no such performance scheduled. Sometimes the future calls softly. Sometimes it introduces itself by name. A large poster stands at the entrance. Adrian freezes when he sees it, the exact image, font, layout from the newspaper. He stares, pale. A woman, Clara, event coordinator, approaches. Clara, you must be Mr. Keller. So glad you could confirm so quickly. He nods numbly. I didn't confirm. Clara, smiling. Your agent did, 2 days ago. The payment's been transferred. Adrian's face tightens. He doesn't have an agent. The curtains breathe with the air conditioning. Adrian tunes the piano. He watches the audience through the slit in the curtain calm, unaware, waiting. He looks at the folded paper beside him. On its last page, below his article, a new line has appeared, faintly printed at the bottom margin. Accident Mars, evening performance. 1 casualty confirmed. He drops the paper. His breath quickens. The second headline had arrived. This time, it carried his signature. The rain intensifies. Ambulance lights flash blue across wet pavement. Adrian stands under the archway, soaked, staring at the chaos outside. A fallen lighting rig, a single man injured, carried away. The paramedics push past him. Adrian looks down. The man's face is familiar. The same technician who had helped him tune the piano earlier that evening. The city did not lie. It simply read ahead. He sits by the piano again. The newspaper lies open on the table, dry despite the rain. But now, beneath the second headline, a third faintly glows through the paper, as if written from inside the page. He slowly lifts it toward the light. The next story begins to form in reverse ink. Missing woman found dead near the Danube, local musician questioned. The piano is silent. A candle burns low beside the Der Morgenblatt newspaper. The faint words, missing woman found dead, flicker, like they're printed in shadow rather than ink. The third headline had appeared long before it was meant to. Somewhere between the rain and the silence, tomorrow had lost its patience. Adrian carefully slides the paper into a plastic sleeve, seals it, and places it on the floor, like evidence. He looks toward the mirror above the fireplace. For the briefest second, he sees his reflection turn away, though he stands perfectly still. He breathes in sharply, but the mirror now shows only his face again, pale and wide-eyed. Fog rolls over the Danube. Police tape flutters in the wind. Adrian stands across the street, staring at flashing lights and a small crowd gathered by the river's edge. He can't see the victim, only the shape of a stretcher covered in a white sheet being lifted into an ambulance. He grips the folded newspaper tighter. On the page, the headline matches exactly what's unfolding. Same location, same hour. He told himself it was coincidence. The kind that only feels alive because fear is looking for company. Adrian sits before Inspector Weiss, mid-40s, intelligent but tired eyes. The inspector flips through his notes. Weiss, you said you suspected something would happen here. You want to explain what that means? Adrian, it was in the newspaper. This morning's only. It wasn't this morning's. The inspector raises an eyebrow. Weiss, Mr. Keller, which newspaper? Adrian hesitates. He shows him the Der Morgenblatt copy, now dull, aged, as though it's decades old. Weiss frowning. This hasn't been printed in 60 years. Adrian, I know, but it keeps arriving at my door every morning before sunrise. The inspector studies him, uncertain whether to dismiss or be afraid. Step quietly. And do these papers tell the truth? Adrian looks down. They tell what will be true. Rain again. He's alone, surrounded by candles. On the wall, pinned pages, each from the strange newspapers, each predicting an event, each proven real. He's drawn red strings between locations, names, and dates. One circle remains empty, tomorrow's date. He sits at the piano, strikes a single note, a hollow echo in the dark. Then a soft knock at the door. He freezes, checks the time, 2:13 a.m. Another knock, slower. He walks to the door. When he opens it, no one. Only the folded Der Morgenblatt lying on the welcome mat, still dry under the dripping hallway lamp. He bends to pick it up. The top headline reads, "Local musician found dead in his apartment, police suspect, foul play." He stares, paralyzed, then notices the byline at the top corner by Clara Weiss, the event coordinator from the gala. The paper had learned a new trick. It had started writing him out of the story. Adrian, disheveled, carries the paper through fog. He's walking fast, almost trembling. He stops at a street sign, Himmelstrasse. He looks up at the far end of the lane. Stands a decrepit, boarded-up building, old, half-collapsed, yet faintly glowing from within. He approaches slowly, dust thick in the air. Typewriter clacks echo, distant, steady. He follows the sound into a large hall filled with rusted machines, their wheels turning softly, impossibly still alive. He sees a single printing press functioning, clean among decay, sheets of paper rolling through it, headlines forming in real time. He reaches out and pulls one free, the ink still wet. The headline reads, "Man found trespassing at old press police en route." He drops it, backing away, eyes wide. From the dark, the sound of footsteps approaches, metallic, rhythmic. Tomorrow had caught up, and it had brought witnesses. Adrian sits motionless, hands trembling slightly, eyes hollow. Across from him, Inspector Weiss places a manila folder on the table. Inside it, the Der Morgenblatt issue Adrian found at the press. "Weiss, we found you at the printing factory. No one's been inside there for 70 years. You want to tell me how that machine was working?" Adrian doesn't answer. He looks past the inspector at the mirror. A faint silhouette moves behind the glass, as if someone is watching from the other side. But there's no observation room. "Adrian, someone else was there. I heard them. The press. It wasn't printing news. It was documenting." Weiss, dryly. "Documenting what, Mr. Keller?" Asterisk. Adrian finally looks up, the moments before they happen. Weiss walks home, the city muted by fog. His footsteps echo faintly. He stops before a newspaper stand. Among the stacks of modern tabloids lies a single yellowed copy of Der Morgenblatt, the same issue Adrian described. He frowns, picks it up, reads the front headline, "Inspector Weiss investigates supernatural case, dies under unclear circumstances." He freezes, his name printed, his face in a photograph, the date tomorrow. He looks up. Adrian stands across the street, half hidden by mist. The walls are covered now, papers pinned like memories. Each one carries its own smell of ink and damp. He pins Weiss's photo to the center of the web. Under it, he writes in pencil, "All witnesses die." The room flickers, once light, dimming, as if the power hiccuped. When it steadies again, one of the papers on the wall has changed. It now reads, "Composer Adrian Keller found dead in fire. Neighbor hears piano before explosion." He stares at it, unblinking. His eyes move to the piano, silent. Still he strikes a single key and hears two notes echo, one from the piano, the other faintly delayed from inside the walls. Adrian descends, carrying a lantern. Dust swirls with each step. He reaches the bottom. There's another piano, identical, buried in cobwebs. Its strings tremble softly, though untouched. He steps closer and sees pages scattered across the floor, each one printed with articles that have not yet occurred. At the center, one sheet glows faintly, its ink still drying. He kneels. It reads, "The man who knew tomorrow discovers his own end." He wasn't reading fate anymore. He was rehearsing it. Weiss arrives at the riverside from earlier. Same fog, same whispers. He holds the Der Morgenblatt copy, trembling. Suddenly, a figure approaches behind him. Adrian, Adrian, don't go near the water. Not tonight. What's waiting there? Adrian, you. The inspector looks confused, steps forward anyway, and the sound of the river changes, as though beneath its surface something enormous is moving. He stops, turns to Adrian, but Adrian is gone. A knock at the door. The postman leaves a single rolled newspaper on the step. Camera follows the roll as it lands. It unfurls slightly, revealing tomorrow's date and a single headline printed in bold red ink, the final edition. Some stories end because time runs out. Others end because they were never meant to be told. The city sleeps under fog. A lantern flickers on Adrian's desk, casting a halo of amber light. Stacks of newspapers surround him, endless headlines chronicling lives that haven't happened yet. Each page bears a date that has not yet arrived. He reads them aloud softly, like prayers. Adrian murmuring, "Fire in the Parliament, 3 dead. River freezes over, fishermen vanish. Composer Keller missing." He stops. The last one is half printed, the ink unfinished, words fading midway through his name. A slow breath leaves him. He touches the press key beside him, the old Der Morgenblatt stamp, and it trembles under his fingers. The more he read, the less the world outside mattered. He wasn't living in Vienna anymore. He was living inside the next headline. Adrian descends once more, carrying his lantern. The press sits in the darkness, its iron arms like ribs. The machine hums faintly, though no power runs through it. He approaches. On the platen lies a blank sheet, already damp with ink. The rollers begin to turn on their own, slow and rhythmic, like a heartbeat. He steps back, watches in dread fascination as letters begin to emerge, one word at a time. The man who knew tomorrow vanishes midnight tonight. Adrian stares at the clock on the wall. It reads 11:47. Weiss runs through the fog-filled alleys, coat flapping, breath visible. He holds the previous paper, the one that predicted his death, in one hand, his revolver in the other. He reaches Adrian's building, bursts through the door. The press roars now, pages flying everywhere. Headlines flash briefly before vanishing. Wars, funerals, elections, obituaries, all in reverse order. Adrian stands before the machine, hands raised, eyes wide, whispering, "Adrian, stop writing. Stop it now." He pulls the power cord, but the press keeps running. The ink glows faintly red, not black. Weiss storms in, gun raised. Weiss, Keller, step away. The press halts instantly. Both men freeze. On the platen lies one fresh page, still warm. Weiss picks it up. Inspector Weiss arrives too late, both men lost in fire. They look at each other and smell smoke. Flames crawl under the door. The old wood groans. Weiss grabs Adrian's arm, pulling him toward the exit. Adrian, it's not the fire we started. It's the one we were always meant to end in. Weiss, don't you dare talk like that, move. They crash through a side door, out into the street, the night swallowing them in embers and fog. The building burns behind them, reflected perfectly on the black water. Adrian stares at his hands, ink-stained, shaking. From the distance, a single folded newspaper floats down the river. He catches it. The headline is unfinished. Two men escape their fate. Below it, blank space, unwritten, waiting. Adrian looks up at Weiss. Adrian, maybe it isn't finished yet. Weiss quietly, then don't write it. He drops the paper into the water. It sinks, dissolving slowly into black ripples. Some truths aren't printed in ink. They're whispered through silence. And tomorrow belongs to whoever dares to stop reading it.